Yo, it's Gloomy, and what's the deal with the death game genre? This video is going to be about the most notable entries in the genre, but only the ones that I personally know about, so if I miss your favorite, write it down in the comments and maybe I'll make a follow-up video on it. We're also going to be playing Death Game Bingo, so we'll see which entries get the big prize of $1 million. Alright, so the first death game I ever knew about was definitely Saw. Now this is an important distinction that I have to make. The death game genre is different, if only slightly, than the battle royale genre. I'd say the main distinction is that in battle royales, there is an arena and a clear objective. Mystery is less important, although present, whereas in death games, the objective can be very convoluted, and one of the main appeals to the genre is the sense of mystery and confusion caused by a weird setting and anonymous people in charge of the game. That being said, I might have to make another video on battle royales in the future, so stay tuned. Anyways, back to Saw. I remember in middle school everyone seemed to think that this was the most horrific, traumatizing thing in the world. It was really hyped up, and did it live up to it? No. However, I only want to use this channel to criticize things that I feel deserve criticism. And if you want someone yelling about Saw, here are some great videos about that. But to be honest, the things that make Saw mid make it somewhat charming to me. The choppy editing in the later entries, the really convoluted plot, and of course the premise of a death game. The premise of the first Saw is much more minimal, but hey, humble beginnings. Basically, two people are stuck in a room with a cadaver, and they're bound there until they complete the bidding of their mysterious captor. There are some really cool and interesting moments and twists, and I'd say it's definitely worth a watch. However, although Saw technically invented the death game genre— okay, pause, recording this later, I don't even know if it invented the death game genre, I'm kind of talking on my ass, but hey, he's right behind me, isn't he? Anyway, back to the video. Is that although Saw technically invented the death game genre, it never really embodied what it came to be, which is many people competing in games which could result in the deaths of themselves and other people, and debt. Lots and lots of debt. Saw seems to be more focused on making people with shady pasts do really messed up things to themselves to stay alive. This is sort of the template for the entire series, and it never really goes full Squid Game. I'd say it's definitely a case of the student surpassing the master, because some of the later entries really built on the whole scenario in interesting and compelling ways. Our first contestant, Saw, ticks off every single box in our death game bingo, so it's gonna win our first prize of $1 million. Quick pause, at the time of recording this, I literally have 0 subscribers, so merp. Next one. The next death game which I heard about was good old Danganronpa. Unfortunately, I committed the cardinal sin of watching the anime instead of playing the game first, which I did years later, and I realized how horrible of an adaptation the show really was. But hey, I was pretty young at the time, so it seemed alright to me. Essentially, 15 students are trapped inside a school with a cute evil bear mascot who reveals that the only way they can get out is by successfully depriving one of their fellow students of life and covering up the crime perfectly. If the others can deduce who did the crime properly and vote correctly, they get to continue playing and searching for information about the mastermind and the world at large, which seems to have undergone a large incident. Maybe Agatha Christie and Then There Were None was the real first Squid— was the real first death game all along. Speaking of which, do not search up the original title for that book. There's some follow-up games to Danganronpa. I personally have only played the first 2, but I definitely heard good things about the third one. I'd highly recommend playing the first one. I personally didn't enjoy the second one personally, but hey, that's not my cup of tea. My cup has Earl Grey. I'm just now noticing that the script says Earl Grey. Cut this out. The game really introduced some of my favorite tropes, such as one of the contestants being a genius, having to investigate the mastermind behind his back, which was probably the best part of the game for me, and the game pitting the contestants more directly against each other. Danganronpa is a sinister battle of wits, and I love that it still preserves some of the Saw aesthetics too. And like the original version, it really had Saw aesthetics. I wish they released that version, to be honest, but anyway. However, Danganronpa is not really going to get bingo today because it lacks someone who played the game before. I'm not really going to count You-Know-Who as being among the contestants because she was MIA half the game, and only a few of the characters actually have a shady past. Wait, bingo counts if it's diagonal? Alright, never mind. Next one. Low-key Death Parade is a death game, isn't it? Squid Game! Squid Game had an unparalleled rise to fame. Everyone everywhere on everything was talking about it. It was just downright ridiculous how big it got. I don't even know why. I think Squid Game is sort of the quintessential death game. Although I would say the game's arena is so big that it feels less realistic than some of the others, having the Saw games be in some warehouse within city limits or Danganronpa be at a school adds to the fear factor for me. Also, I'm not gonna lie, high-key Squid Game has some of the most believable characters of any death game I've seen. Saw is Saw, and Danganronpa. I don't even think they were trying to make these characters seem real. Like, okay. But anyway, Squid Game definitely does try to make its characters seem real. The acting is mostly amazing. Top tier, honestly. But one gripe I have with the show is that it being on an island makes it feel less personal. I'm not even gonna bother explaining the plot of Squid Game though, because I'm pretty sure every single person has seen it or heard about it. But honestly, I think it pretty much does live up to the hype. Squid Game hit the world at just the right time for it to absolutely explode, and it was a grand enough spectacle for everyone to notice. Personally, I didn't see the twists coming, and I found the mystery intriguing. And okay, I have to say it. I know everyone said it too, but did they get these actors off Temu? What the fuck? What? How did they even get on the show? Anyways, it doesn't really have a mascot. I don't think the doll counts. It does have a traitor. Technically, someone played it before. There was a genius manipulator. Of course, it had a shitty ending, a convoluted plot, characters with shady pasts, and the main characters, they didn't try to find out the mastermind, I guess. Just the cop guy. I kind of forgot about that. So Squid Game gets bingo, but it doesn't get the $1 million prize. Next one. Blue Lock. Blue Lock took the world by storm too. Just like Squid Game. Just like Squid Game! And it has a pretty big floor plan. Just like Squid Game! It's interesting that every player in Blue Lock knows that there will only be one survivor at the end, but is still forced into teams. Psychologically, that's kind of a new take on things. Calling this a murder game doesn't really feel like that much of a stretch, because like, you know, like they can't play soccer anymore and that's their whole lives. It's pretty much killing somebody. But honestly, it's better than some of the other ones on this list. Although, of course, it has a heavy focus on the sport of soccer. There's sadly no weird mascot. Technically, there's a trade. Technically, no one played it before. I don't think there's a manipulator. I didn't really get that far. I'm not gonna cap. I did not get far at all. Didn't get the ending. Don't know if it's shitty or not. The plot isn't even convoluted. Okay, yeah, it's not really. You might be right. It's not a death game. Next one. Finally, we have one of my favorites here, Tomodachi Game. This feels like a weird amalgamation of things I've seen before. Classroom of the Elite, Kakagurui, Danganronpa, and Squid Game. And it's honestly pretty damn good. I've only read the manga, so I can't speak to the anime, but the plot goes as follows. 5 characters wake up in an abandoned classroom. A creepy robot thing called Manobu informs them that they are in what's called a friendship game. You might be thinking you like friendship, and that you like games. However, this is no ordinary game, nor friendship. Essentially, Manobu makes them play a series of games, which at their heart seek to tear apart this poor group of friends. Aesthetically, it's much more similar to, like, you know, I don't even know. This is far from believable. At least maybe in Squid Game, some weird billionaire could have an island not far from Korea, but this is ridiculous. Being underground, like, being in a cave, come on, man. They aren't even dying, so is this even a death game at this point? Regardless, I don't want to make this seem like it's a bad show or manga. I really devoured it, and I highly recommend it. The only problems I have with it is this character. Actually, this character too. Okay, am I insane, or all these characters somehow are underdeveloped at the same time? Like, not a single character, like... Anyway, Tomodachi has a mascot, a traitor, multiple people played it before. The entire point of the series is that the main character is a serial manipulator. I haven't gotten to the ending, but I'm gonna guess that it's bad because things like this have bad endings. And the plot, okay, this is the most convoluted plot I've ever read. Every single person has like 4 red herrings attached to them, plus a twist. There's plans within plans. I don't even understand half of it. Not for lack of explanation though, because the application that I used to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag my manga has random Korean manhwa thrown in before every chapter. Plus the chapters are low-key out of order, and the plot is convoluted, so yeah. Yeah, that's like the video and stuff. But seriously, thank you so much for watching, and leave a subscribe please. And if you want to support this channel, check out my music. My beats have been playing this whole video, so if you thought it was groovy, look me up. It's in the description. I'm never gonna sell out and offer you a plushie or a Gildan t-shirt, so you don't have to worry about being bullied for watching my videos. Maybe I'll make a Patreon, but that depends on how much the rent goes up in a few years. Anyway, like, subscribe, see ya.